Hi guys, welcome back to another video. Today we are going to be talking about newborn essentials, or what you will need to put on your baby registry. Now keep in mind this is different for everybody. Every baby is different and so is every parent, but this is my list according to what I found useful. I am a first-time mom, so I have done my fair share amount of buying things I thought I needed but ended up never using, and I just wasted all my money. So to save you guys from making that same mistake, I wanted to go ahead and hop on here and let you guys know what I use the most, and hopefully it can help you guys out in figuring out what to add to your registry. I know that there are so many products out there targeted towards new moms and just babies in general, and it seems like the market's always coming up with new things. So hopefully this list will be helpful for you guys. I try to keep it as minimal as possible, and everything that I will talk about in this video will also be linked down below. That way it's easy for you guys to find. I do get a small commission when you guys click the link, so definitely check it out. Alright, so let's go ahead and get started. Alright guys, so the first thing I'm going to talk to you guys about is clothing. I know that it's very hard to kind of stop yourself from buying a lot of clothes for newborns because they are so tiny and so cute, but try to keep it minimal when buying baby clothes because they tend to outgrow them very, very quickly. I know my baby is 3 months old now and she no longer fits in her newborn clothes. Also, baby clothes is what people normally give you at baby showers. So you will probably end up with a bunch of newborn clothes. We have a bunch of newborn clothes that honestly our baby hasn't even worn and she's already outgrown them. What we use during the early days and honestly up to now are sleepers, especially the ones with the zippers. If you can find ones that include mittens, I highly recommend that one. This is an example of one. So this one I believe is from Target in the Cloud Island brand. This one has the mittens included to it, so you can actually just cuff them up. So like this is what it normally looks like. So her hands are out here, but if you want to add the mittens, you just fold them over. This is a lifesaver. We bought a bunch of mittens for newborn stage and honestly they all fell off, and now we're like missing, like they're all mismatched and we're missing a lot of them. They just tend to fall off easily on babies because their hands are so tiny. Also, the zippers are phenomenal. Honestly, just use the zipper ones. We barely use the ones with the snaps and the buttons. They're very annoying, especially in the middle of the night changes when you're like so tired. So I highly, highly recommend that you use the one with the zippers. And this one actually zips down from bottom top, which is perfect because that way you only need to zip up to where the diaper is, and then you just change her in the middle of the night and boom, the baby doesn't need to be extra cold for no reason, and then you just zip it down and you're good to go. A second clothing item that I would recommend you guys have is just plain white onesies. This is so tiny, she doesn't fit this anymore but this is the just plain white Gerber organic onesies. This is great for layering. Our baby was born in September, so it did get a bit colder and cooler in the nighttime, so we like to layer on by having this underneath and then her sleeper up top. Personally, I would avoid fancy clothing just because they feel unnecessary. We really ended up not going anywhere. And during the first few weeks, babies spit up so much and they poop a lot, so you're probably going to need to end up changing your baby a couple times throughout the day, and we just found that it was unnecessary. And of course, I also don't recommend buying shoes. You really don't need shoes. I mean, babies don't need them until they start walking, so I find that that's also unnecessary. For strolling and outings, really the number one thing that I would highly recommend you guys add on your baby registry is a baby wrap or a baby carrier. There are a bunch out there, but I like the Kia baby one. I find that it's super easy to use, and mostly we use it for around the house because we don't go out that much, especially because we're still in the pandemic. But when I have to do dishes or I have to do chores around the house and my baby just wants some cuddle time, I just put her on there and I swear to you, she gets the best nap of her life. I can be clanking pots and pans together when I'm washing dishes and she just sleeps right through it. So I highly, highly recommend it. It does look a bit intimidating at first because it's just basically one piece of like very long fabric, but I just watched a video on how to assemble it on their website, and literally just one time watching it and I figured it out, so I'm sure you guys can too. And another thing you guys definitely need for strolls and outings are a good diaper bag. I would highly recommend you guys do your research on this and invest in the best one that suits you and your budget. We also use the Kia Baby brand for this one, and we really, really like it. It has a bunch of pockets. It's very roomy. We can put so many things in there. And I am an exclusive pumper, so I have to carry my pump around, and I find that it fits great in there. It also comes with its own little diaper changing mat, so when you're out and about, you can just whip it out and you're good to go. For bath and health, I have a couple recommendations. The first one that I really want to tell you guys about is the Nose Frida. We at first in the beginning used the bulb syringe type that hospitals give you when you come home from the hospital. We found that to be annoying. It didn't really take anything out, and it was very hard and complicated to use, at least for us being first-time parents. But the Nose Frida was very simple, and it took out her boogies in no time. Another item is going to be a cradle cap brush, also from Frida Baby. This works phenomenal. During the first couple weeks, I found that she had a lot of cradle cap, and what I did for that was I just kind of rubbed some coconut oil on her head a couple hours before her bath, and then during bath time I would use the cradle cap brush to kind of brush it off, and it came out in literally no time. And now she's 3 months old, she doesn't really have it, but we still use the brush just to scrub her body and to scrub her hair. That way we know that she's getting cleaned really well. And the third thing I would recommend for bath and health products is a first aid kit, or like a beginner's medicine box. I'll put a photo up here of what I'm talking about, but I found that this really helped me, especially because I'm a first-time mom. I don't really know all the type of medicines out there for babies, the best brands and all that fun stuff. So I found that having this just kind of eased my mind, just in case anything did happen the first few weeks. I didn't have to have my husband run out to the store and grab it for me. Thankfully, we haven't really had to use it yet, except for the gripe water, but it's always better to be safe than sorry. Another thing for bath and health is Aquaphor, the tub ones. We use that all the time, especially after her bath time. During the first few months or even the first few weeks, babies have really dry skin, and especially in their face area, and they kind of develop baby acne. I found that using the Aquaphor helps with the dry skin a lot. One thing that we don't buy for baths is bath toys. It's really pointless during the newborn stage because, well, babies don't really play with them yet. And even when our baby is older, I don't think we're going to be buying bath toys. We just want to have a routine of having bath time to be part of our unwinding down for the evening and getting her ready for bed. And not really playtime. Also, I don't know if you guys have seen the inside of rubber duckies. No matter how hard you squeeze out all the water, there's always mold that's in there. So next thing is going to be feedings. Now this particularly pertains to exclusive pumpers or nursing mamas. That is what I do, so that's what I have recommendations on. So the number one thing you are going to need if you're exclusively pumping or if you are formula feeding is bottles. However, I wouldn't recommend that you go out and buy big gift sets or sets of bottles, just because you never really know what your baby will take to. This was my mistake. We bought a whole set of Nuck bottles and our baby ended up hating it, and she got really bad gas from it. So actually we ended up not using it, and I kind of just wasted my money on it. Another thing that you're going to need for feedings is a pacifier and pacifier clips. And I know not everybody plans on using pacifiers, but I highly suggest that you buy one or two just in case you end up changing your mind about it. I know for me, we actually weren't planning on using pacifiers at all, but we ended up buying one or two, and I really am thankful that we did that because we ended up needing them. In the beginning, I was nursing my baby, and and she ended up using me as a pacifier to soothe her, and it was really, really painful. So we ended up just giving her a pacifier for the nighttime, and it really helped me bring back my sanity. So the ones we use is actually the Bibs one and the Advent one. That's the two that my daughter really like. And of course, if you guys are gonna be using pacifiers, then I highly suggest you get pacifier clips. This is the one I have from Amazon. It's really great. You just clip it onto a shirt. And the next thing, this one particularly pertains to exclusive pumpers, or if you are going to be pumping and wanting to store some milk, you obviously are going to need storage bags. This I'm not really too picky about. I have tried a couple brands. I've tried Lancino, I've tried the Up and Up Motif Luna brand, and also the Parent Choice one, which is the one I'm currently using. Not too picky. I haven't really noticed a big difference as far as quality goes. The prices do vary. I find that the Up and Up, in my opinion, is the best one. That or the Motif Luna one if you have the budget for it. But personally, I couldn't justify paying a lot of money on some plastic bags that are just one-time use when I know that there is a cheaper alternative out there. Another thing for feeding is going to be a drying rack. Pretty self-explanatory. We use the Boone drying rack with the tree branches, and that works great for us. One thing that we didn't really end up using that we bought, and I kind of regret it, is buying a bottle warmer. And this may just be different for every family and every baby, but our baby actually ended up liking cold milk, and that's what she likes. She doesn't really like mess with warm milk that much. She doesn't mind it, but she just prefers cold milk. So I wish that we didn't invest in it right away. In the beginning, when we were warming her milk, I wish we would have just done it old school style and just had hot water enable and just placed the milk or placed the bottle on there to warm it up for a bit. That would have been perfectly fine, at least until what we got to know what our baby likes the most. Another thing that I use a lot as an exclusive pumper is a Dr. Brown's pitcher. I specifically do the pitcher method where I dump all my milk for the day there, and then I separate them between bottles, and then whatever's left in the pitcher I freeze. So that is what I do. I can do a whole nother video on it if you guys want to see like an exclusive pumping routine, but I find that I use that every day on a daily. And we actually are probably going to need a second one, to be honest, because I am a bit of an oversupplier. Another thing that I recommend for feeding, and this applies for exclusive pumpers and people who nurse, are nipple creams. Well, a good nipple cream will really, really make or break it for you. I use the I Love Booby brands. I believe that's the brand. And when I don't use that, I just use plain old regular coconut oil, and that works really good for me. Another thing that you will need for feedings is a really good pumping bra or nursing bra, depending on obviously your feeding style. I honestly made like a ghetto version of a pumping bra where I just had my old like sports bra, and I just cut some holes in the middle, and I just popped my flanges on there, and I called it a day. That works for me. I just personally couldn't like justify paying $60 for a bra with some holes on it. And the last thing I would recommend you guys buy for feedings is a haka. Now, I don't really use my hakas that often because now, like I mentioned, I'm an exclusive pumper and my supply has regulated. But in the beginning, I used it a lot when I was still trying to nurse. I would have my baby on one side of my boob, and then on the other boob I would just have the haka, and I got a good amount of ounces in there that I was able to store. Now that I'm an exclusive pumper, like I mentioned, I don't use it that often, but when I do feel a clog coming on, I put them on my breast and I go take a warm shower, and I let that steam and that hot water hit, and honestly it gets rid of the clog really, really easily for me. Alright guys, so we're going to be talking about diapers next. So this really depends on you. I use cloth diapers and I enjoy using the pocket diapers. This is what they look like, just for reference. So this one is actually the Nora Nursery brand. I really like the colors, but I highly recommend that you guys use cloth diapers, or at least look into cloth diapers, because not only do they save environment, and because they are very cost effective, and they are good for your baby's bum. So when my baby was a newborn and she still had her umbilical cord, we did use disposables. We used the Huggies brand. and I noticed that she had a bunch of poop blowouts when she would use those, and we would have to constantly change her. And even then, we had to constantly change her outfits because she would just leak through. And she also had a little bit of rashes developing every now and then with the disposables. But when we switched to cloth diapers, she rarely ever gets rashes. And she never, or I shouldn't say never, she's only really leaked through her diapers once or twice. And if you guys want more information on cloth diapers, like this video or comment so I know to make another video on all about cloth diapers. And obviously with diapering, you are going to need wipes. You can use cloth wipes or disposable wipes. Honestly, right now, we are just using disposable wipes, the big box that we get from Costco. That works for us. We bought one when she was a newborn and we still haven't gone through all of them. And we are 3 months into using them. Another thing that you're gonna need for diapering is a really good diapering cream. We use the Birdo's butt paste. And the last thing I would recommend for diapering is a good wet bag. And obviously this only applies if you are cloth diapering, but you are going to need several wet bags, one in your diapering bag and maybe 1 or 2 at home depending on how you set up. Alright guys, so now we are going to go over extras. The number one thing is a bunch of burp cloths. This is honestly not even a burp cloth. This is like a diaper insert or something. That's what we use. It's very absorbent, and I highly recommend that you guys get this instead of like regular burp cloths. We have a 6-pack of this, I believe, and I bought it off of Amazon. We use this on a daily, especially in the beginning of when she would spit up constantly. So highly recommend that you guys look into burp cloths. Another thing that you guys probably didn't think of that babies will need constantly and often are going to be swaddles. These are my favorite ones. This is the muslin swaddle, so they're huge. And our baby used this constantly during the earlier days when she constantly wanted to be swaddled. But now we still get a lot of use out of them. We use them as a blanket. We still use them as like a car seat cover sometimes. So we still get our use out of these. So, and then another thing that you guys are gonna need is going to be a noise machine. Honestly, this helps so much. I didn't think we were gonna get a lot of use out of this when I first bought it, but actually my baby still uses this to this day, and she's 3 months old already, and she uses it every night to help her fall asleep. It just cancels out the noise around her, and I find that she gets a much better sleep at night when she has this on. And another thing that I would recommend is a swing for the early days. My baby is actually starting to outgrow her swing, which is making me so sad just how tall she's gotten. But during the earlier days, she loved her swing. She fell asleep on it constantly when we were just needing a second to like get dinner ready or anything like that. I would just put her on there, and obviously I would still watch her, but she loved it. She actually just was very quiet when she was on it, and she was able to even take some of her best naps on it. And then last thing is, depending on your living situation, you may or may not need a diaper changing pad or changing mat. We have one and it's nice, but we honestly only used it in the beginning. We don't really use it that often now. We really just change her like on the bed or something like that because it's just easier for us. So if you do get a diaper changing mat, I would recommend though that you get a washable one, or like one that has like a plastic cover on it. Because babies will poop through them like crazy. So don't even buy the covers for the changing mat, because we actually bought 2, and honestly we ended up not even using them after a while because we were tired of constantly washing them because she just pooped through them like every time we would change her. So it's just easier to have like one that is just like plastic where you can just wipe down and it's clean. So that's what we have. So that is everything that you will most likely need to add to your baby registry. Again, I'll have a more detailed list down below, but these are the ones that I highly recommend you guys add. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know down in the comments what video you guys want to see next. If you guys are a second, third, fourth, or whatever time mom, let me know down below what were some things that you guys used often during the newborn stage that I missed. So that is it for the video. Thanks for watching, and I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye!